So is the screen visible right now?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Today we'll be discussing about your exploited data analysis. So basically, exploited data analysis or this is a data exploration technique that is used to understand the various aspects of data. Okay, so this is one primary technique, you can say, or basic technique that is used for understanding the data. Okay, understanding the data means first we'll be finding out what types of data are there, what are the data types, uh, whether there are some nulls are present, whether there are some redundant values are there, whether there are some noise present. If these types of things are there, like if some nulls, some redundant data, some additional data, some noises are there, then how to filter them or clean them. Okay, and otherwise you can say to remove those unnecessary data, and we'll be doing some basic operations. Okay, so basic operations we'll be doing to find out the different relations between the different data components. Okay, data components means, let me okay, here let us go to the general definition of this EDA, or you can say exploratory data analysis. So what happens in statistics? Exploratory data analysis is an approach to analyze the data set, to summarize their main characteristic. Okay, so their main characteristics often with visual methods. So suppose some data sets are there. Okay, so whenever I am telling you data sets means, you should understand that those data sets are going to be stored in different matrix format. Okay, matrix format means tabular format. Okay, so there will be some rows. Okay, row 1, so the rows means first row 0, index is 0, second row index is 1, third row index is 2, like that it is going to be stored. Okay, and here there will be some columns. Okay, so column 1, column 2, column 3, like that. Okay, so those data are going to be stored in different tabular format or matrix format. So EDA is a basic, or you can say primary statistical technique that is used to analyze the data set by visualizing their property. Okay, so we'll be using, I'll tell you what are the functions or what are the libraries those are used for visualizing their relationship or characteristics. So that is the thing, that this is an approach to analyzing data sets to summarize their main characteristics, often with visual methods. So this is important, that this is the primary method based upon some visual technique. Okay. Otherwise, you can say a statistical model can be used or not, but primarily EDA is for seeing what the data can tell us beyond the formal modeling or hypothesis testing task. So without going into the detail, EDA gives us some basic idea about the data set. Okay, that's the thing. So it will give you some primary knowledge about the data set. Okay, and John Tuke, this person, he has actually promoted this EDA method. Okay, so long back he has actually started this using this EDA method. Okay, so this is the total process of any data science. Okay, so whenever we are going for data science, these are the basic process involved in that data science. So what are those process? First is your here you can say some realities there, means all over the globe there will be some activities going on, so we'll be collecting some data from those activities. Okay, so first is raw data collection. Okay, first step is your raw data collection. Next is your data is processed. Next is your clean the data set. Okay, so whenever I am saying that data is processed means, here we some amount of data structure is involved, how we are going to put the data, how we are going to arrange the data. So those things are there. Okay, next is your clean the data, means we will be removing the redundant data, we will be removing some unnecessary noise, those things are there. So cleaning, or you can say clearing the data set. Okay, next is your, you can say some other things are there, algorithms and models are there, those are used for, you can say that is also used for some analysis purpose, also used for data arrangement purpose. So all these three components are there, or they are associated with your exploratory data analysis or EDA. Okay, so this is one of the most important or primary component of any data science process. The next process is communicate, visualize, reporting. Next it will be sometimes this is also interpreted as a data product, means that can be stored in any database for further analytics purpose, or that can be sold for any purpose also. Okay, because data are also very expensive, data are sold. Okay, So these are the basic steps involved in any type of data science process. So today I'll be telling you means how to do some basic operations, or how to perform some basic operations, or how to get some basic information about any type of data set. Okay, we will be taking a arbitrary data set which I have already downloaded from a site. I will also give you all the details. You can play with those things. Okay. Next thing, so whatever EDA or whatever exploited or basic analysis we are going to conduct, that is we are going to conduct with Python. Okay, so my recommendation is to use, all of you please install Python in your desktop. Okay, so you can use a any type of text editor of Python, or you can use Spider Anaconda. Okay, so Anaconda, that is used for your Python purpose, so that you can install that one, because most of the updated libraries are available there, so that you don't have to again install required libraries. Okay, so most of the libraries are available in Anaconda. So my suggestion is to install your Anaconda in your system. Okay. Otherwise, you can also use some online platforms. Online, you can say Python executing platforms like your. There are some platforms like your. You can say Jupyter Notebook. Also, some other platforms are there. I don't remember their names. So you can also use them. So whenever we are going to execute, or whenever we are going for this data science processing, or you can say data processing in Python, we have to use some basic packages, or you can say we have to use some basic libraries. Okay, so what are those libraries? First is your pandas. Okay. So pandas is one of the important library which is used for this purpose. Okay, so data analysis purpose. Okay, so that is so one line or one or two lines written about the pandas, that pandas is an open source BSD licensed Python library. Okay, BSD means that is your unlicensed, or you can say loosely licensed thing. Okay, so what happens sometimes whenever some open sources are there, uh, they are you can say the restrictions with those open sources are very less. Okay, so there will be no restrictions. So low restricted open sources are usually called as your BSD license, or you can say Berkeley source distributed license. Okay, so whenever we are finding some BSD license, means you should understand that that is mostly a open sources. You don't have to worry about their licensing. Okay, so BSD licensed Python library providing high performance, easy to use data structure. Okay, so for data structure purpose that is used, and data analysis tools for Python programming language. So whenever you are going to use Python language for your data analysis, so it's you have to use this pandas, or you can say you can take the advantage of pandas, because pandas is equipped with so many functions, so that you can easily use those things. Next, you can say one another statement is this, that is your Python with pandas is used in wide range of fields, including your academic, commercial domains, including finance, economics, statistics, analytics, etc. So in any of these fields, those are used. So you can use pandas for your data analytics purpose. Okay. Next thing, we are going to use your NumPy. So NumPy, that is also another type of library that is used for this purpose. So that is also one type of, you can say, numerical computing tool. Okay, and the thing is that that is also interoperable. Interoperable means wide range of hardware and computing platforms can be simultaneously integrated with your NumPy. Okay. Next is your, you can say, easy to use, and this is also open source. Okay, that is also BSD license, or you can say that is also open source. Okay, so you don't have to worry about these things, and so many informations regarding this open source are available in your GitHub or your any type of public coding sites. Okay, so you can get enough information regarding this. Okay, so you don't have to worry about these things, so you can directly use these packages. Okay. So if you are using any other types of text editor, there may not be this packages, or there may not be this these types of libraries installed, so you have to additionally install those libraries. Okay. Next, another type of library is there, that is called as a Seaborn. Okay. So this library is explicitly used for statistical data visualization. Okay, so this is explicitly used for statistical data visualization, means whatever data you are plotting, like your pie graph, your pie chart, your histogram, these types of scatter plot, your two-dimensional plot, three-dimensional plot, your all those types of plots can be done by this library. Okay, so as I have already told you from the beginning that uh, exploratory data analysis is a method of understanding the data by some visual methods. So definitely we are going to plot some graphs, we are going to have some charts, or there will be several types of pictorial views. Okay, so for that purpose, this Seaborn. So what happens here? Let me tell you what exactly we are going to do in this session. So basically, I'll be telling you a set of commands. Those are used for this purpose, means for this data analysis purpose, means how to find out the rows, how to find out the columns, how to delete them, how to manage them. So all these things I'm going to discuss, and for that purpose, I'll be using a data set that is, you can say, one data set is there that is called as your students. Okay, I have downloaded that data set. Okay, you can see, I'm just showing you that data set. What are the contents of that data set? First, let us see that what are the things those are present in that data set. After that, we will do some operations with this data set. Okay, so here you can see this is one data set which I have downloaded from Kaggle. So I will also give you the link of this data set. So what happens in this data set? First, you can say there are about um, there are 1,000 rows are there, 1,000 entries are there. Okay, so you can see 1,001 is there. So that means here 1,000 rows are there, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8. Okay, so you can say yeah, there are 8 columns are there. First column is your, you can say that is your gender. Okay, first is your gender, second is your race or ethnicity, third is your parental level of education, fourth is your lunch, fifth is your test preparation course, next is your math score, next is your reading score, and H is your writing score. So this is one arbitrary data set. I have just downloaded that one. So you can take any type of data sets, those are available online, and you can do these types of operations. Okay, but what happens? These are the foundations for your data processing. Okay, so once you are mastered with this fundamental process, so you can go for higher level data analytics. So that is the thing. So you can see in gender, so there will be some entries, male, female, or different types of things. In race or ethnicity, there will be some categories, group A, group B, group C. In parental level of education, there will be some different types of categories are there. Similarly, in everything, there will be some entries are there. Okay, so we'll be doing some mathematical operations with this data set. Okay. Okay, so here I have written the code. Okay, so I have already written all the statements or all the things here. So you can see first whenever we are going to do those things, or whenever we are going for any type of data analytics, so first we have to use these libraries. Okay, so is this PPT visible right now? Hello?
Yes,
is this
sir.
PPT visible?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
means the text, I am asking about the text. Means the text size is visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you can see whenever we are going for any type of processing, you can see first you have to use the, or you have to import the libraries. Okay, so I have already told you that 3 libraries are there which are most important for this purpose. So here you can see 3 statements have been given for import purpose. So import pandas as PD. So PD is your, you can say, the handle for this library. Okay, which we'll be using for calling that thing. Okay, whenever we'll be using that library for our purpose, we'll be using PD. Okay, next import numpy as NP. Okay, next is your import Seaborn as SNS. So you can give any name to these things. Okay, these are not mandatory, means these are not a fixed thing. You can give your name. So here I have already given the names like this. Okay, so next you can say data is equals to some code is written. Okay, so and after that, three categories I have done. First is your understanding the data, means what are the basic features of your data, or how the data looks like, what is the size of the data. All these things are there. And next is your correcting the data. Okay, next will be your relationship analysis of the data. So I have written few lines of codes. So we'll be executing that code and we'll be seeing what happens by using that code, or how to use means how to do some basic analysis using your Python. Okay, so these are the things, whatever code I have shown there. So I have already copied there. Okay, we'll be just running each line of this code in your you can say console. Okay, so this is your text editor and this is your console. So we'll be executing one by one there, and we'll be seeing what happens to or what are the results we are getting. Okay, so first let us copy with this one. Okay, so first let us I'm importing this three lines of code, or let me copy this one. Okay, so let me copy these 4 lines of code. So here you can see first line is your import pandas, import numpy, and import sborn. So these are the 3 library import. Next is your data is equals to PD. You can say PD is your pandas. Okay, so we are just using your pandas for reading purpose. Okay, so pandas library is I have already told what is the function of pandas. So pandas are basically used for handling large amount of data. So that's why we are using this pandas library for reading a CSV file. Okay, so you can see underscore CSV is there. So the format of the file is CSV type or your Excel file. Okay, and whatever file I have shown you, or whatever data file I have shown you, that students, we are going to import that into your Python. Okay, so here you can see this is the address of the file where it is stored. So c/user/biswa/spider that py3 slash students.csv. Okay, so students is the name of the file. Okay, so the be careful whenever you are writing these things. So these are the codes that is used for importing a CSV file into your in your Python. Okay, so just put enter. So here you can see we are not getting any error. That means your file import is correct. Okay, so if you are getting some error, then you have to correct that one. Okay, I have already corrected those things. So because sometimes small errors creates lots of problem. So next command you can see here, it is written here understanding the data. So first we want to understand what are the things available in that data set. Okay, so first is your, and here you can see whenever we are reading the data using a pandas library, after reading, those things are saved into data. So data is a multi-dimensional variable in which whatever data we are reading, those are going to be stored here. So now everything is stored in your data. So we will be operating with your data. Okay, so that is the thing. You can see understanding the data means data means here we'll be doing some basic operations to understand or to find out what are the things present in that inside that data set. Okay, first is your data.head. Okay, here if you're putting this one, then what happens, you can see I have already told you in that file how many columns are there. 8 columns are there and 1000 rows are there. But here you can see whenever we are using this data.head, that means it will show you the first 5 entries of that data set. Okay, first 5 entries means first 5 rows. You can say first index is 0 is shown, that is your first row, 1 is your second row, 2 is your third row, 3 is your fourth row, 4 is your fifth row. So first 5 entries are there and 8 columns are there. You can say dot 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 means some of the columns are hidden here. Okay, but these are the entries. Okay, and the size is written here, 5 rows into 8 columns. Okay, so if you are using your head, then you will be getting this one. Okay, so similarly if you are using this data.tell, then and that will show you the last 5 entries. Okay, here you can see last 5 entries are there. Okay, so you can say 995, 996, 997, 998, 999. Okay, and here also same size, 5 rows, into 8 columns. So what happens if you are using these things, means these two commands, then from this you can at least get some idea about the starting and ending values of the data. Okay, so what happens here, the data size or the size of the overall data is it's not so much big or it's not so much small. Okay, so only you can say 8,000 datas are there, because 1,000 rows are there and 8 columns are there, so total 8,000 entries are there. But in reality the data size may be very huge. Okay, that may be crores of values. So instead of processing the whole data, by using this small code, we can get the starting or ending values of the data set. Okay, from this at least we can get some idea about the starting and ending value. Okay, so that's why this thing is there. There are some other codes also which are also useful for getting some information regarding the data, like your data set. Okay, so data.set. So if you are using this one, then it will show you the overall dimension of the data. So you can say data set is, it will give you 1,000 rows are there and 8 columns are there. Okay. Similarly, if you are using data describe, so let us see what happens here. Here you can see data describe is a special function, you can say, or that is one special feature that is used to find out, that is used to get some basic mathematical and statistical parameter of your data. Okay, so what happens? Let me show you that thing once again. Let us go to that data set. So here yes, so this is the data set which is which we have taken for our example. So you can see this is one row that is means this is filled up with male, female, and all those things. So this is also same type group A, B. So these are not any numbers. Okay, so numbers are not there in these columns. Okay, numbers or numeric values, or you can say integer values, or your those numeric values are present only in these 3 columns. Okay, so whenever we are using this data describe, that usually takes care, or that does some mathematical operations of the columns in which some numeric values are there. Okay, you can see in these 3 columns only numeric values are present, like your math score, reading score, and writing score. So data describe will do some mathematical operations of these 3 columns. Okay, so here you can see in this answer only 3 columns are present, that is your math score, reading score, and writing score. And in these rows you can see some of the mathematical functions has been done. So what are those mathematical or statistical functions? First is your count, how many entries are there. So in each column 1,000 entries are there. So you can see in math score 1,000 entries are there, reading score 1,000 entries are there, writing score 1,000 entries are there. Similarly, what is the mean value of those columns? So that is your 66 point something. Okay, so similarly 69, 68, like that. So third is your standard deviation. Next is your minimum value. Next is your 25% of that thing. Next is your 50% of that thing. Next is your 75%. Last is your max value. So these are the mathematical things or mathematical or statistical functions which are done by using your data describe. Okay, and remember that whenever we are using data describe, this is going to do the operations of the columns in which only numeric values are present. Okay. Next, one small code is there, that is your data column, so which will show you the columns which are present in your data. Okay, so if you are putting that one, then it will show you what are the columns present inside your data. So gender, race, ethnicity, parents, parental level of education, lunch, test, all those things. Okay. Next, this is one very good feature, or it is important. You can say command, that is your data number unique or unique number. Okay, so unique number that is represented by your n unique. Okay, you should understand that unique number. Okay, n is written for your number. So if you are executing this line, then what happens? You will find some answers like this. Okay, so what happens here? It will show you how many numbers or how many unique types of entries are there in each column. Okay, suppose you are taking gender. In gender, you can see in gender there are 2 types of entries are present. Okay, male, female, male, female, male, female. No other types of things are there. So the unique number is 2. Okay. Similarly, in race or ethnicity, what are the entries? You can say group B, group C, group A, B, C, D, like that. 5 entries are there. So 5 is your unique number. Okay. So this is the thing, that unique number tells you how many types of entries are there in a column. Okay. Similarly, parental level of education 6, lunch 2. Okay. Test of preparation course 2. Math score 81, means 81 types of scores are there, because math score starts from 0 and ends at 100. So that's why you can say different numbers are there. So that's why the unique number is 81. Okay. Similarly, reading score, writing score, the unique numbers are different. Okay. Next, another type of code is there, or you can say line is there. That is your data gender unique, means here we want to see the what are the details of that unique number. Okay, so here it is just showing you the number or unique number value, but here we want to see the details. So here, if you are putting data in bracket or gender, then dot unique, then it will show you what are the types of unique things. So male, female. Okay. Similarly, if you are putting some other things, then it will show you the other things, like your, if you are putting your race or ethnicity, then it will show you group A, group B, group C, group D, whatever may be. Okay, what are the variants are there. Okay. Here also you can put this one. Okay, let us copy this one and execute. We see. Yeah, so you can see, if you're putting this one parental level of education dot unique, then it will show you bachelor's degree, some college, master's degree, associate's degree, high school, etc. Okay. So these are the things, basic operations which are there, or which you can use for understanding the data. Means what are the starting of the data. Okay, if you are using your data head, that will show you the starting of the data. If you are using your data tail, that will show you the ending of the data. If you are using your data set, that will show you the total dimension of your matrix. And if you are using your data describe, that will give you some mathematical values, or you can say that will show you some values after doing some mathematical or statistical operations associated with the columns, which are filled with some numerical values. Okay. Next is your data columns, that will show you what are the columns present, and unique, that will show you the unique numbers. Then these are the things like if you want to see the exact unique values, those are there in your column, then you can use this code. Okay. Next is you're correcting the data sets. Okay, so if I have already told you that these are the basic steps involved with your in your EDA. So this is also very important, because what happens sometimes there may be some errors in your data entry. Okay, so these errors are not like that. Means this is not man-made. That is genuinely made by your machines, or that is these types of errors are done during your taking the measurements. Okay, these are automatically, these things automatically happen actually. So so we will be looking at some few codes related to your data clearing, or you can say clearing the data set here. Okay, so first issue, you can say why we need, let me tell you what are the real objective of this correcting the data set. Suppose in a data set there are 10,000 entries are there, and inside the 10,000 entries, suppose 5,000 entries are null. Okay, so 5%, suppose 5% entries are null. So 5% of 10,000 is about you can say that is your 500 entries. Okay, so if 500 entries are null, then whenever you are doing some data analysis, and if you are finding out the final result of that analysis, then definitely it is going to give you some errors. Okay, so that's why if there are some nulls, then we have to remove that thing. Okay, and sometimes what happens, some redundant data are there, and these types of redundant data, these are not means it's not like human made or something like that. It happens due to some natural phenomena, or there may be some error in the machines, or there may be some delay in the machines, or there may be delay in the networks also, due to which wrong data or some data are repeated. Okay, so that's why in your final data set you might be getting some redundant values. Okay, so if suppose you are saying that 5% or 10% of your data sets are redundant data, it has happened due to any type of thing. Okay, any problem. So if redundant data are there, then definitely you are going to get some wrong results. So for avoiding these things, we have to do some certain operations. Okay, so these things are kept in your correcting the data set. So here first operation you can say that is your data dot is null, means we are going to find out how many nulls are there. Okay, if some nulls are there in any column, then how many nulls are there, it will show you the sum. Okay, so that's why you can say two codes are there, or two operations are going to happen. So data is there, data dot is null means it is going to find out the null, and dot sum means it is going to find out the number of nulls present in a specific column. Okay, suppose 5 nulls are there, it will show you 5. Okay, if 10 nulls are there in a column, then it will show you 10. Okay, so let us check how many nulls are there. So here you can see no contents are means in this data set no nulls are present. You can see in gender no nulls are there, race, ethnicity no nulls are there. So this is a very good or clean data set. Okay, you don't have to do any operation, but still you have to check whether nulls are there. If some nulls are there, then you have to remove that null. So whenever we are going for data processing, you every time you don't have to write the code. Your code should be so much genuine, or it should be very much dynamic, that automatically every check should be done, and those types of errors will be removed whenever you are executing that code. Okay, you don't have to correct the code every time or change the code every time. So next you can see, suppose I want to drop some columns. Okay, because here what happens in this thing, whenever I will be doing some mathematical operations, I'm not going to do the mathematical operations here. Okay, because these are simple strings. Okay, so I'm not going to do the mathematical operations here, only I will doing the main mathematical operations here. Okay, suppose I decided that these are the two entries which I don't need for my operations. So if I want to remove them, then I have to use this code. Okay, so I hope some of you might have studied these things in your Python scripting. Okay, student is equals to data dot drop. So what happens, let me tell you here, data dot drop, this is the thing for dropping or removing the columns. Okay, and what are the columns we are going to remove? That is your race or ethnicity and parental level of education. These are the two columns which we want to remove. So after removing the thing, we are going to store the all the things, whatever things are remaining, in students. Okay, so that is the thing you should understand where it is going to store. Okay, because initially we are doing all the operations in data. Okay, because we have read the data from the CSV file and stored all these things in your data. And here, after dropping those two columns, we will be again storing those things in your students. Okay, so that's the thing you should understand. Okay, whenever we want to operate, we have to check from students. Okay, so this is executed. So let us check what are the entries are there. So we can easily check by taking the starting point. So students dot head we can write. So we can we execute this line. Executing here, you can see same 5 rows will be there, because whenever we are executing dot head command, then it will show you the first 5 entries, but the number of columns has been reduced, because previously it was 8 and now you can see it has been reduced to 6. Okay, means those two columns has been removed. Okay, and here you can see, here I am executing students dot head. Okay, if I am doing this one data dot head, then it will show you the previous one. Okay, that's the thing you should understand. If you are doing this data dot head, then it will show you the previous one. Okay, whatever things it has been imported at the beginning. Okay, so 5 rows into 8 columns. So these are the few things which are related to your correcting the data. So I hope all of you know all these things, how to remove the data point, how to find out a specific data point, and do all the operations. Means these are something related to your data structure in Python. Okay, so you might have studied these things. Okay, so I hope you might have done something related to your text file, means how to find out specific data point and remove those things, and how to find out how many entries are there. So all these things are there in your Python data structure. So same thing I am just discussing, but these are specifically used for your data analysis or data analytics purpose. Okay. Next type of thing is your relationship analysis. Okay, so whenever I am saying relationship analysis, means we'll be finding out the relationship or the you can say relationship between different columns. Okay, so different entries of your data set. Okay, so first relationship means first parameter which is used uh, for finding out the relationship is your correlation. Okay, here the function is core, CORR. Okay, so students is your data set in which you should understand that whenever we are operating the things, you should understand that how many rows and how many columns are there. And here you should understand that in students the number of columns has been reduced to 6. Okay, whereas the number of rows are same. So so we'll be doing the correlation of that students, and we'll be storing those things in another variable that is called as a correlation. Okay, so whenever we'll be doing the next operations with this matrix, we will be executing your correlation. So basically what happens, correlation is a function that relates or that finds out the similarity between different entries. Okay, so whenever we are trying to find out the correlation between two things, or you can say two columns, then it finds out the similarity between the data. Okay, so if those are highly similar, then the correlation coefficient will be 1. Okay, that means I'm talking about correlation coefficient means that is normalized one. Okay, so if you are finding out if the data set are highly correlated, that means those are mostly similar. Okay, most of the things are similar or same with each other. If they are not correlated with each other, then the correlation coefficient will be 0. So the normalized range of your correlation coefficient starts from 0 and it ends at 1. So 1 means highly correlated, most of the things are same, and your 0 is your that is non-correlated, or they're not same at all. Okay, you can say like that. So once we have found out this correlation, now we'll be doing something to plot those things, because in statistical analysis most of the things are done by visualization purpose, or we analyze most of the things by visualizing the things. So here we'll be doing something, means we'll be plotting this correlation coefficient in a specific type of diagram that is called as your heat map. Okay, so that is the code. I will explain what is the meaning of this line. What happens here, we'll be using the another type of library, that is your Seaborn library. Okay, so Seaborn library I have already told you that is used for Seaborn library is used for your statistical data visualization. Means whenever we want to see the data in form of pictures or in form of graphs or in form of charts, then we use this Seaborn library. So here we'll be using this library for calling or for representing the data in visual form. So sns.heatmap. Okay, so next is your in bracket correlation, because after doing that correlation function or after executing that correlation, we have stored everything in this variable correlation. So correlation is there, and next how we are going to plot the thing, because heat map is something is related to plotting. Okay, we have to assign something in its x-axis and something into its y-axis. So that is the thing written here. X tick label means in x-axis we are going to plot the correlation dot columns. So what are the columns in are available in this correlation matrix? Those are going to be put, or those are going to be kept in your x-axis. Similarly, same correlation dot columns means same columns are going to be kept in your y-axis also. Okay, and next we will be using some annotation, so that is equals to true. I'll tell you what is the meaning of true. So let us execute that one. After that I'll show you. I'll explain you what are the things, what is the meaning of this one. Okay. Okay, let me execute once again this thing. Yes. Okay, so what happens? You can see here. This is the heat map representation of your correlation data. So whenever we are doing this correlation, that means it is definitely going to do the mathematical operations of the columns which has some numerical values. Okay, so it is not going to manipulate the things where strings are present. So definitely numerical values are going to be handled. And as I have written in the code, let me show you that code once again. That x tick labels means in x-axis your correlation columns will be there, correlation dot column. So here you can see columns are like this: math score, reading score, and writing score in x-axis. In y-axis also same thing is there. Okay, writing score, reading score, and math score are there. And what happens? Whatever correlation coefficient we have, so here you can say in writing score everything is represented as a matrix form. So here you can see if you are finding out the right correlation coefficient with your writing score to writing score, then that is going to be 1 because they are same. That means they are highly correlated. Okay, so if you are finding out the correlation coefficient of your reading score to writing score, then that becomes your 0.95. If you are finding out your correlation coefficient with your math score to your writing score, then that becomes your 0.8. So these are the things. Similar type of things are also here because this is a two-dimensional representation. So same thing will be here also. The entries will be whatever entries are here, that will be present here also. In this case, 0.8 will be here. Here will be also 0.8. Here will be 0.95. Here will be 0.95. That means if means x correlated y is equals to y correlated correlation of x. Okay, so if you are reversing the order also, that will give you same value. This thing also you might have studied in your signal processing. So this thing happens. This is the primary one of the most we can say primary tool that is used for your analysis purpose or relationship analysis purpose. Okay, next thing you can see one annotation is there. Here we are using true. If you are using true, then it is whatever values correlation coefficient values are there, those are written on the plot itself. You can see if you are making it false. Okay, suppose you are making it false, then those will be not present. Okay, let me do that one. Yes, you can see if you're making annotation as false, then those values are not written on your plot. So these are the few things you should know that whenever you are going to use this. And next is your another type of plot is there, that is called as a pair plot. Okay, so if you are doing this pair plot, these pair plots are basically used to plot the data between two variables. Okay, suppose two means two columns. Okay, it is going to plot the things between two columns. Let me show you. After that, you will understand in a better manner. So yes. So what happens? So three things are there, three entries are there. So that's why you can see three types of plot it has plotted. So whenever it is plotting between two variables. Two variables means between two columns. So math score versus writing score, reading score versus your writing score versus your writing score. Like that it is plotting. So whatever values are there, those are just plotted. Okay. So from this also you can get some idea, okay, about the data. Another type of thing is there, that is your that is called as your relational plot or scatter plot. Okay, so you can see let me copy it first, after that I'll explain. So here you can see SNS, that is the Seaborn library. REL is there, that is your relational plot. Okay, REL plot is there, that means your relational plot. And how we are going to plot this means we are going to relate the two variables. First is your math score with your reading score, and there will be another thing we are assigning, that is your hue. Okay, so hue is, that means whatever plots are going to be done, those are going to be discriminated according to the gender variable. Okay, so and data is equals to student means from students it is going to take the data, and we will be relating math score with a reading score, and whatever plots we are having or will be having, those are going to be splitted into different parts based upon this gender. Okay, means hue means it is going to give some color according to this gender. Okay, let me first plot, after that you will understand. So this is the thing you can see. First is your math score and second is your reading score. Okay, and here you can see those things has been plotted in different colors based upon your gender. Means male, female has been plotted in females are plotted in blue color and males are plotted in yellow color, or you can say your orange color. Okay, so two different hues have been given based upon your gender. Okay, so from this also you can easily understand whose reading score is high, whose math score is high, whether that is a female or in which range. Suppose I want to find out in 60 to 80 range whose math score is high. So definitely you can say your math score higher is your for your male. Okay, male has higher math score. If you want to find out what whose reading score is high, then female's reading score will be higher. So these types of interpretations or these types of visualizations can be done from these types of analysis or these types of commands. Okay, if you want to suppose you want to change the command, suppose instead of using this hue as your gender, if I'm making it as lunch, then what happens? Then the graph will be same type of graph will be there, but the those are going to be differentiated based upon the lunch. Okay, so standard lunch, those who are having standard lunch, they have been plotted using a blue color, and those who are having free lunch or reduced lunch, they are plotted using your orange color. So definitely here you can say at different ranges you can find out whose performance is higher, whose performance is lower. Those things can be found. Next, next is your histogram. Okay, so another type of plot is there, that is your histogram. So I hope all of you know what is a histogram. So histogram is basically bar representation of different variables. Okay, suppose a data set is given. So we want to represent all the variables in bar form. Okay, so in bar form means we'll be using their density to represent them, and we'll be representing their density in different bars. Okay, so here we'll be plotting, and that is written in this command. You can say dist plot. Okay, so that is for your histogram purpose, or you can say bar purpose. And student and writing score. Suppose you want to write, we want to represent your writing score, then what will be your plot? Your plot will be like this. So here you can see how it is plotted. So you can see your writing score is starting from a 0 to 100. Okay, and whenever we are using these types of histogram, so the labels will be finite. Okay, you should understand that the number of labels or the ranges are finite. Okay, and here in this axis you will be having your density. Okay, density means the number of occurrence, the number of times they are present inside the database. Okay, suppose your 60 to 80 range is there, and within your 60 to 80 range, suppose 40 people are present. Okay, and what is the total size of your data set? The total size of your data set is 1000 into 60, that is just 6000. So if you are taking the ratio of 40 with your 6000, then that will be coming around your 0.025 or 0.022, like that. Okay, so the thing is that histogram tells you the relative occurrence of the data. Okay, relative occurrence of specific data or data range. Okay, so here you can see this is the label which gives you the data range starting from your 65 to 70 or something like that. So this is the range of the data which is starting from your 75 to 80 or something like that. Okay, so the thing is that whenever we are going to represent the data using histogram, we have to represent the density of the data using finite labels. Okay, so here you can see number of labels have been used, like your 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12, like 20, might be 20 labels may be there. We can also limit our label based upon our requirement. Okay, so if you are using this simple command or modifying that same line using beans statement, or you can say if you are using this, putting this one beans equals to 5, then automatically that will limit your labels. Here you can say if you're using beans equals to 5, then 5 labels will be there: level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. So 5-star labels will be there, or you can also use other values. So these are some of the basic functions which are there. Which are usually used for your basic EDA, or you can say exploratory data purpose or data analysis. There are some other things also, like your there are sometimes what happens, there are some outliers. Okay, outliers means, suppose let me tell you some, give you some examples. Okay, here you can see there are some outliers. What is the meaning of outliers? So you can see in this column some entries are there, like 72, 69, 90, 47, 47, like that. Okay, and suppose suddenly one entry comes, that is your 0. Okay, or suddenly one entry comes, that is your 0.1. Okay, so at that time what happens, you should understand that that is not a real entry, rather that entry has occurred due to some problem in the system, or there may be some delay in the system, like that. Okay, there may be some experimental error. So outliers are something those happens when the data point differs significantly from your other observations. Okay, suppose you can say the other observations are like your 70, 90, means the level, there are some ranges of data in which usually the values should vary. Okay, suddenly the value you are getting, that is not lying within that range, then you should understand that that is an outlier. So in case you are having that type of outlier, then also you can remove that one. Okay, so you can also do some coding, like instead of whatever thing we have found here, data dot drop here, or data is null, you can also put some conditional statement to find out the range of the data which are lying within a specific range. Okay, suppose here, let me explain. So here you can see all these values are lying within this range. Okay, so all these values, most of the values are 50, 55, like that. Suppose I found that this 18, this entry may be a outlier. Okay, because this is not lying within my range. My range is more than 50. Suppose I have just fixed like that, means my reading should give the value should be more than 50. So if I'm getting the entry as 18, then that must be, so that also means that value must be removed from my dataset. So in that case, I have to write some commands, like whenever the range is varying from 0 to 49, then that should be removed from that column or that entry. So these types of things are there. So many other things are there. So basically what happens? We'll be using the features of your Python as well as some libraries to analyze this data. So whatever things I have discussed today, these are the fundamental things which are used for basic data, you can say EDA purpose. But there are some high some other things or other commands or other techniques by which we can use some high level analysis also. Okay. So this is all about today's lab. So I'm going to end the session here. So